fellows, brothers and sisters. Um, Good evening. Welcome to Takeover by Art Class Magazine. And um, I'm Manny Montelibano, Director for the Visayas Islands Visual Arts Exhibition and Conference 2020. So I think before I talk about a few questions which was directed to me by Art Class, I would like to talk about the Viva ExCon. No, Viva ExCon is a Visayas biennial which was started by the art group Black Artists in Asia. And in 1990, Bacolod City, and was hosting since then toured the Visayas Islands for every 2 years without fail. It has become the blueprint with which other initiatives have been patterned after. It was the main goal of Viva ExCon to celebrate Visayan art by bridging the islands of the Visayas so as to provide a venue to facilitate dialogues, interaction, networking, and cultural exchanges, thus addressing fundamental and relevant issues among visual art communities and related stakeholders. Having accomplished such goals in the 30 years of its existence, it now looks towards the future in ways that can best contribute to the development of the communities it serves. With the existing COVID-19 pandemic, Viva ExCon Organization Incorporated has opted to calibrate the programs to continue to empower the artists in the Visayan regions and the Philippines to address the issues of the changing times. The group has decided to have two phases of Viva ExCon. Well, before talking about these two phases, I would like to address the objectives of Viva ExCon. One is to empower local art practices, to be relevant to the challenges of the changing times, to explore opportunities for collaboration and forging of resources among sectors of the community, to respond to art-related issues proactively, and to design a preferred future for the artist community, which involves also the other sectors of the society. A few months back, we were already excited to we've been working and excited for this year's celebration of 30 years of Viva ExCon. And all of a sudden this COVID-19 pandemic came. And I think we have to address this issue. You know, it's not only within our country, but it's the whole world. It involves humanity. And I think Viva ExCon, the theme, DASON, or what now, or next, or referring to the future, is in keeping with future studies which postulates possible, probable, and preferable futures and the worldviews and myths that underlie them. This is the theme of Viva ExCon 2020. DASON seeks to understand the context and circumstance of the art community in relation to the sectors of the community it coexists with. What is likely to continue and what could plausibly change. Part of the creative initiative is to seek a systematic and pattern-based understanding of the past and the present, promote inclusivity, and determine the likelihood of future events and trends so as to better respond with alternatives towards a much preferred future. This is the future now. How is Viva ExCon team adapting to the new normal and preparation for the upcoming Biennale. I think what I have discussed was already, the team points out already to the future, the new normal, the preparation for the future, the upcoming Biennale. And of course, addressing the issues of the changing times. And we have calibrated the Viva ExCon organization incorporated has already responded to this challenging time or to this challenging issue. By now, we have recalibrated Viva ExCon, the exhibition and conference, and we adapted by expanding and stretching Viva ExCon, and we will start Viva ExCon on November. We will still push through, utilizing available resources, which is the internet, and producing the VCON, which is the virtual conference, extending it all through June 2021, and July 2021 will be the main Viva ExCon. Basically, we have postponed the celebration of our 30 years. How has the pandemic affected preparations for the Biennale? I think all the Biennales in the world has been challenged on how to adapt in these issues. Even the curatorial team of Viva ExCon is continually addressing this issue on how to deliver discussions and discourses within our region and the world. How is art practice important in these times? What do I think is the role of art in this pandemic situation? Let me give you an example. I think one local initiative like Viva ExCon has encouraged all art communities in their respective localities to help one another. I think what this pandemic has taught us is actually to go back to our roots, to go back within our circle, to go back to our families, to go back to whoever is important within our communities. And I think this is the essence of Viva ExCon. It is developing local art communities and at the same time expanding these communities within our reach. One good example is Art Hills, a project of Orange Project, the gallery, which artists have initiated a fundraising program which raised some money to provide food packs, all the way to the mountains of Silay, and to see the faces crossing mountains and hills and rivers, to see the faces of these of the people that actually artists give hope. Artists give inspiration. And to look within ourselves, we reflect our own souls as a nation. And I think it's very important that artists have this initiative. But I'm not talking only Art Hills. I'm talking also the worldwide initiatives of artists. These are very important. It's not only artists. I think it involves the whole humanity. It involves our soul as a human race to continue to live. I think that's how we value life. We value our families, our friends. We keep on praying and giving good deeds to everyone. I think this is what we need now. what do I think will be the impact of COVID-19 in the Visayan art scene? I think it has created a really huge impact, um, personally and for individuals and as artists. I think it keeps you grounded. You are just human. And we go back to our roots again, our practice, and how we see the world. So it doesn't stop the artist's practice within the region or within the world. It is very important to continue in these times to reflect how people respond to this challenge, to this crisis. Artists have been responding in times of war, in times of conflict, in times of sickness, in times of global challenges, and even in times of um, global warming, the environment, all of these issues that affect our localities, our communities, our families, ourselves. So it has actually have an impact, a great impact, and it makes actually the artist look into oneself and what is valuable to life. How about its impact on a citywide events like the Biennale? Well, um, as the director of Viva ExCon, I think it's very, very challenging. I wish I was not the director. I, I, uh, well, maybe um, this is not a blessing. Actually, this is a challenge. But I think all events, all art events in the world have been affected, and I think as humans, I think what is constant within us is change and adaptation. We adapt. I think the solution to this COVID crisis is we just adapt, and then we just love one another. I even cut the hair of my friend, so I became a barber. I became whatever, a shield maker. Uh, I made PPEs, and some artists have been responding, like creating all of these new works, and you know, there's a cat in the house. So, in these challenging times, the organization has been preparing for again going back. We have recalibrated Viva ExCon, and that means we had made it stronger. We extended, and then I think it's time also to go back to ourselves and our essence as artists in this world. So, the post-pandemic future, in terms of Viva ExCon, we have prepared 2 phases of Viva ExCon. Phase 1 will start on November with the V conference. We call it VCON. It's a virtual conference. So virtual conferences and several related formats will start on November 2020, focusing on issues that affects the artists in the region, the curatorial framework of the exhibitions, art projects in progress, the global discourses pertaining to art practice, possible and probable futures considering the current health crisis. This will feature speakers coming from 8 provinces of the Visayan Islands, selected areas in Luzon and Mindanao, and other countries. The web conference will be hosted by our organization. Possible topics for discussion. I have a código here. 1, we'll focus on Kalibutan, which is the main exhibition of Viva ExCon. Kalibutan, the world in mind. Focusing on the curators with our head curator, Dr. Patrick Flores, in Western Visayas, curators Gwen Decena and Libby Limoso. In Central Visayas, we have Jay Hore and Maria Taniguchi. And then Eastern Visayas, we have Mars Miano and okay, this COVID crisis has created memory block. Okay, so we have like 6 regional curators. I'm sorry, I forgot the other one. And then the other topic is the biennials in the new normal age. We are inviting people from the different biennials and triennials in the world to discuss this matter. And then residencies after the pandemic. I think it's very important that we discuss about residencies, because residencies are play a big role in the career of a lot of artists around the world, and it also has affected a number of artists in their practice. And then the art market post-COVID. What's the market? Since we are already expecting economies to be crashing. And then we want also to have a discussion on lockdown art. What are the artists doing during these times? And then how about the museums? I think this is a very important topic also on museum management and their projections after the pandemic. How do they respond, and how do they reprogram things? And then another thing, after this pandemic, we hope there's an after. And I think there's a post-traumatic stress that this pandemic will have for our communities. And I think what's important also is art therapy. And then the other one is art initiatives in challenging times. So there are art relief initiatives, and the one I mentioned earlier is Art Hills, Orange Project, and then online workshops, and then artist talks, artist demos on use of alternative mediums, webinars on grant sourcing and application, and much more. So that's phase 1. So that extends more than 6 months, I think, from November to June 2021. But on phase 2, we have projected already, our plan is to have the EXCON Proper, Viva ExCon Proper, which will happen on, projection is on July 14 to 18. So if it's feasible, the EXCON Proper will welcome 300 to 2,000 participants, artists, curators, critics, cultural workers from all over the Visayan Islands, the Philippines, and other countries. The dates are tentative due to feasibility of producing the events. As you know, at the moment, we are quite clipped. But I think what's important is to plan, and every day we have to adjust. And then we still continue with the exhibitions. We have Kalibutan, the world. Our head curator is Dr. Patrick Flores, and we have 5 main exhibitions. We have Kalibutan, the world in mind. The exhibition component of Viva ExCon takes inspiration from the Visayan word Kalibutan, which refers to both world and consciousness. It is a dense and intricate term because it brings together world making and worldview. The world is embodied on the one hand, and the body is inworlded on the other. It is rare for a world to register simultaneously cosmos and recognition. This is a prompt of our curatorial work on the Visayas to create conditions for expressive material that responds to the range of stimuli of an active ecology to play out in the space for Viva. This expensive material may be translated in many ways: object, sound, performance, image, moving image, text, and so on. The choices are not confined to default expectations of contemporary art or to projects that end up in exhibitions. The subsidiary title pertains to the state of being in the world, through the world, and finally looking after it with care as well as with anxiety, affection, or even obsession. Mindfulness of the world acknowledges complicity in its production as well as the indeterminacy of its vastness. So this is the main exhibition of Viva ExCon 2020 in Bacolod. The other exhibitions will feature tribute exhibitions for Nuni Lucio Alvarado, Brenda Fajardo, Leandro Locsin, and Lino Severino. Then we will have a Viva ExCon commemorative exhibition and the Futures Vessel, which is a collaborative art piece output of the conference on July 2021. Another feature of Viva ExCon next year will be the Community Art Fair, which will feature different art groups that will exhibit different works of art coming from the different provinces of the Visayas. Then Phase 2 will continue with its final conference, a 3-day conference, July 15 to 17, highlighting dialogues and subjects that focus on the sectors of the business and economics, family and beliefs, politics and government, and education. Key resource persons in their respective fields will be invited to present future studies based on their areas of specialization. The conference is designed to be inclusive, which will start with presentations and will break into a smaller cell groups to initiate intimate discussions among participants of the conference. Cell groups are to participate into presenting outcomes of the cell discussions and reflect insights and ideas in producing a collaborative art piece, The Future's Vessel, which I mentioned earlier. So these are our plans. We recalibrated Viva ExCon, and it's quite challenging to present you another form of biennial. Again, Viva ExCon is an artist-initiated biennial, and it is, I think, the only artist-initiative biennial and oldest in the Philippines. Challenging, no? Di ba? So, in these times, no, I think we just how you know, nakakasira to ng ulo, no? Directing this biennial in these times without resources. The only resource that we have are the artists in the region and the whole world. So how would I like to remember these times, no? In this health crisis? I don't want to remember these times because, you know, it keeps you clipped. You cannot go out of your house, you cannot do anything. You know, you want to hug your friend, you cannot do anything normal. But I think we have to adapt. No? But I'll remember these times when I look at my family, when I go home, when I sleep early, when I wake up, and happy to see the sunrise every day. And I think I remember these times when you value each day that you are given. So I think, you know, this we will have stories to tell to our grandchildren, to the next generation. I think these times we'll just make the most out of it. So, cheers. Iced tea na lang kasi wala nang alcohol ban eh. Liquor ban. So, yun, no? So, I would like to thank Art Plus magazine for having this takeover. You know, it's so, you know, it's one thing that this pandemic has gave us also. It's generosity. And being artists, I think, you know, one good trait of an artist is being generous. I don't think that you know, not only artists, but I think all of us need generosity at this time, in these times. And I think this pandemic reminds us that we are just human. And we go back to the basics. We go back to the simplest things. So, thank you Art Plus magazine for giving this opportunity to me. And you know, for sharing. And I would like to invite everyone to participate, you know, and during our November to July 2021 Viva ExCon. Ricky, hello. How are you? Or hope your corgi is happy in these times. So I would like to show you, guys, I would like to show you the team that's behind. strange project. This is the office of Viva ExCon. And it's been 2 months since we've been here. And we're still talking to about, the future of our practice. So we wish you all well and be safe. Take care. We hope to see you Viva ExCon 2020 to 2021, and we'll celebrate life. Thank you very much.